In other news, making headlines this Friday, the ANC's National Executive Committee meets today in St. George's Hotel in Irene. President Cyril Ramaphosa has been battling to unite the governing party since his 2017 victory at the Nasrec conference. Now this week, Julius Malema revealed that former Tourism Minister Derek Hanekom met with EFF Secretary General Guthrie Gardie to discuss the removal of then-President Jacob Zuma. Now Hanekom has admitted to that meeting, but insists there's nothing untoward. ENC's Samkele Maseko joins us now live from the venue of that ANC NEC meeting in Irene. And Samkele, a little earlier when we spoke to you, there was a crowd of people gathering there carrying various placards. What are they saying?
Yes, indeed, Michelle. These who are basically behind me, it's a few of them now. They are basically contesting the ANC's decision to expel about 16 or remove 16 of their councillors in Maluti Apifong municipality in the Free State province, where the Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Makashule, comes from. I'm just going to ask my colleague just to show you that placard, which basically says, Makashule, leave Maluti alone. Basically saying that the Secretary General has invested interests in Maluti Apifong municipality. There's another placard up there which basically says disband the Free State PEC. That's the Free State PEC led by Sam Mashinini, who's the provincial chairperson and MEC of transport in that particular province. And also there's another one which is interestingly speaking about the administrator in Maluti Apifong municipality. I've heard some few phone calls this morning as well that some of the employees in that particular municipality have not been paid their salaries till now as it stands, despite the municipality assuring those workers of Maluti that their salaries would be paid in full. I'm just going to try and bring in this gentleman here, Michelle, before we divulge and go into the details of the ANC's Top 6 meeting, which is currently taking place now in Top 6. Sir, why did you deem it fit that you come and protest outside this particular NEC meeting?
Samkelo, if you remember well, we were here on the 2nd of July. We spoke to Mr. President and he promised us that he will bring back our 16 councillors. If you remember well, during the election time, President was in Malutapofu. He was campaigning there. He promised the community that that 16 councillors are still the members of ANC. So after that, if I'm not mistaken, on the 2nd July, we were here to demand our answers, because even now these councillors are still expelled, are still at home. They didn't get their salaries. But President promised. On the 2nd, President spoke to me direct. He phoned me. He promised me that NWC, in the meeting of NWC, they're going to talk about the issue of 16 councillors. Then after that, on the following day, I'm going to get positive answers about 16 councillors. Till now, my friend, we don't have answers from President. That is why you see us here protesting. We are demanding our answers from President.
When you look at the President, for specifically, there is the issue of Derek Hanekom. The Top 6 meeting is taking place as we speak right now inside here at St. George's Hotel. He's accused of the very same thing the Maluti Apifong councillors are accused of. I'm going to ask you a contemporary political issue. Should Derek Hanekom follow the same suit as these particular councillors who've been removed in Maluti Apifong municipality, or should he, like the Maluti Apifong councillors, be afforded a second chance?
My friend, they need a second chance, but I can't say they need second chance. Those councillors, they treated unlawfully. Look, now, if you can check at Maluti Apofung, Mayor of Maluti Apofung right now is the guys leading the Kwankweta opposition party. The very same people who say 16 councillors, they voted with oppositions. They did exactly the same. They gave oppositions power. They voted a man from the Kwankweta. So I can't say those councillors, they need second chance. No. They treated them unlawfully. They must reinstate them. They must come back to work.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Then, Michelle, there is another issue here where you've got, I'm seeing a few members of the ANC Youth League who are gathering in the vicinity here at St. George's Hotel. They are also calling for the disbandment of the ANC Youth League, which is also on the ANC NEC agenda after that ANC National Working Committee NWC recommendation that the Youth League should be disbanded as it's no longer a constitutional structure. Their mandate in office has lapsed a long time ago, as they were supposed to go to conference last year in September. That did not materialize, and the president and the secretary general of the ANC Youth League, that would be Jabulo Nzuza, he's now a minister, he's now a deputy minister of Home Affairs. But I'm just going to try and bring in Karima Brown just to ask her, political analyst, just to ask her a few questions on this particular issue of the NEC and the particular officials meeting which is taking place right now inside St. George's Hotel. Karima, interestingly, the officials, their meeting started at 9 o'clock. It's now 10 past 11. The officials meeting is still ongoing. What could be the topical issues in this officials meeting?
I think the big issue here is the division between the president on the one side and, of course, the secretary general on the other side. Ais Magashule has, over the last week or so, nailed his colors to the mast, both in terms of President Jacob Zuma's testimony at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry and, of course, that hard-hitting statement that he released calling Derek Hanekom a charlatan. Now, the funny thing is Ais Magashule himself is under investigation for having been part of the formation of ATM. President Jacob Zuma's relationship with Black First, Land First is under consideration because that's, of course, a party that contested the election. So to try and isolate Derek Hanekom here at this meeting is going to divide the officials because some of them are directly implicated in similar allegations. So I think that the discussions that are happening between them will involve exactly how they're going to manage this conflict that the Zuma faction has seized upon. You've seen someone like Masina, the mayor from Ekurhuleni, saying that Derek Hanekom should be expelled. This is the same mayor that said he will resign from the African National Congress if Cyril Ramaphosa becomes president of the organization. So the people trying to use the Derek Hanekom matter have themselves very little credibility. The same with people like Musibenzi Zwane. The testimony coming out at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry, very, very bad for them. Law enforcement agencies are looking into whether President Jacob Zuma lied about having met the former public protector when we know he did meet them. So I think the officials are going to have to work out a line where they're going to manage the divisions between them and provide leadership to the rest of the National Executive Committee. The other thing that you also, of course, know, Samkele, is that Paul Mashatile released that video the last time where he addressed business people that they are ready to remove President Jacob Zuma off the back of a vote of no confidence bill that would have been brought, or rather motion that would have been brought by the EFF. So again, to assume that it's only Derek Hanekom that worked with opposition parties is a little straw that people are grabbing on. The ANC is seized with very, very deep divisions, and they involve the very top echelons of the organization. So it's going to be a very difficult meeting for them. They have to come out united and present themselves as united officials. And I'm not sure whether it is possible that they can do that given the way in which Magashule has identified himself with President Zuma.
My last question to you, Karima, is these officials, all 6 of them, I can detail their skeletons, all of them, from number 1 right up to the national chairperson, number 6, Gwede Mantashe. All of them have their own Smolanyana skeletons in their cupboards. And those Smolanyana skeletons have all come out tumbling out of that closet right now. What can South Africans draw from a leadership that is riddled with crisis, from one crisis to another, that has skeletons from one form to another, to a president which is alleged to be part of what is purported as the Stellenbosch Mafia, to have a secretary general which is purported to be part of the state capture projects, the Guptas, the looters, and the corrupt individuals, or the alleged corrupt individuals in this country. Can South Africans take any inspiration from this leadership that is riddled by scandals?
Well, I think the contesting narratives in the ANC needs to be put to the test. It's one thing to say someone is part of something and then where's the evidence? I think what people are trying to do here is to make it unable for South Africans to tell the difference between a truth and a lie, putting dye in the water. And I think what we have to do here is look at what is the evidence to back up the reported claims that comes from certain quarters. And so in the situation of state capture, for example, President Jacob Zuma up until this day refuses to accept that state capture is real, even though his ministers have actually acknowledged the fact that state capture is real. So I think what we're going to have to do here is that those who have evidence to be brought before commissions of inquiry, before police investigations, are going to win the day, because eventually the truth is going to come out, whether you're trying to cloud that narrative with a counter narrative or not. Evidence is going to have to back up what people are saying.
I so wish you had more time to unpack these particular issues, but as live broadcast dictates that we don't have the luxury of time. But the question remains, are we in the middle of a political war that is raging on and is being not withheld and is carrying on unabated?